What's good, everybody? It's your girl Toya, host of Universal Teas, the People's Podcast. We are doing another episode of the In Your Space series with my lovely guest that is here and going to introduce herself in a second. So this is going to be a very great conversation. I'm super excited about it. As you all can see, we're at the Pearl's office. And so I'll let my guest introduce herself.
Oh, thank you. I'm Dr. Tiffany Tardy, and I have the pleasure of serving as the president and CEO of Pearls, and I'm so happy you're here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So we know that this series is all about who people have to become to step into these roles that can sometimes seem intimidating. And we can sometimes convince ourselves that we're not the woman or the person for the job. And I thought you were very fitting because you are absolutely the woman for the job and you're doing it well.
Oh, thank you.
I've been following Pearls for a minute. A little stalker vibe-ish. Not for real, but like on social media, I'm always looking at what you all have going on. I even had the opportunity to visit the old office, and I got a tour of this beautiful new office that I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a look at. And so I just wanted to go through some questions so that we can kind of get to know Tiffany before Dr. Tardy and before CEO.
Yeah.
To kind of talk about how we got here.
I love it. Let's do it.
Okay, so first question is, before the title of CEO, who is Tiffany at her core?
Yeah, when I was thinking about this, like I'm just a girl, you know. I truly, I am from Milwaukee. I was born and raised here. My family from Mississippi. I come from a very close family, very hardworking family, and I really, my mom has always said like the titles don't matter, and that you treat everybody, regardless of who they are, what their roles are, with respect and with gratitude for who they are and what they contribute to this world. And that's how I've lived my life. So I really have never been the person that loves titles. I've actually had to like lean into that as I've grown professionally because, it doesn't matter. I really believe in just the work. And I really believe in, trying to do my part in whatever that looks like. So I really am just a girl. And I really, I love people. I love the relationships that I get to have personally and professionally, being able to really connect with people, who they are, their identities. That's really who I am at my core. Somebody who is just genuinely interested in I would say like I don't want to be cliche, but like a better world, and that's how I've always been in my life, of trying to find ways to make lives, experiences better. Like I don't feel like I had the easiest path, and at times I'm so like I do feel really grateful for what I have been able to do and experience and accomplish, and the people that were placed in my life and God put in my life at the right times. And that's what I feel like I try to be, because I know what impact that was for my life. So I'm just Tiffany. Funny.
Yes.
I think I'm funny. just always here for a good time, always here for community and having good conversations and really understanding people for who they are.
Yeah, and I love that, because in this series, with it being like in your space, like yes, we're at the space that is attached to the title, or that is attached to, this huge accolade that seems so like glaring from the outside, but it's important to understand and see people as people. That's like a huge part of my platform with Universal Teas being a podcast, and as it grows and evolves, is that we're just people.
That's right.
I always want to attach people to their humanness and keep that intact, because once we remove our humanness, I feel like that's when we start to feel like we can't do a certain thing, or we can't get that certain thing, because we feel like the person or the people that we've seen do it are no longer like humans like us. And so speaking to that story, I know you mentioned like a very close-knit family from Mississippi. Don't all of us up north got some family in Mississippi?
The Great Migration.
And so what experience, or can you think of an experience growing up or within your family that you feel like shaped the woman that you are, that woman that loves people, that woman that loves community and want to give people that pleasant human experience? Can you think of like a thing or a moment that kind of ignited that in you?
It's an interesting question, because I can't say like that moment came during my childhood,
Yeah.
because I feel like I was just trying to, I mean, I don't say this much, but I do think that as I was growing up, I was one of those kind of suffering in silence kind of
Mm-hmm.
people. Didn't realize like what mental health was,
Yeah.
or what I was experiencing internally. I didn't really have that type of relationship at home where you could like talk about feelings. You
Yeah.
know, we didn't grow up with feelings, unfortunately. Sorry, mom, but
Yeah.
it's true. You know,
So.
so I just I felt like I was just trying to figure out who I was. I actually just did this story for Pearls, talking about growing up as a girl, and it
Mm-hmm.
was like having me reflect on being young, and I just didn't like, I didn't have that like identity
Yeah.
understanding at the time.
Yeah.
I never quite felt like I even fit in
Yeah.
in my family. Like, it was a time where I thought I was adopted, just being honest,
Yeah.
because it was just, I did not feel like I fit. And so it's some of that that I think led me like into my college years, where I
Mm-hmm.
started to explore who I was, started to understand the world in a bigger
Mm-hmm.
way, that made me understand what was missing,
Yeah.
what I didn't want
Yeah.
experiences to look like for girls like
Absolutely.
me. And that's where I think I really started to lean into
Yeah.
my path, that just so happened to be both personal and professional. Because I
Yeah.
always like to say, like, I actually, growing over the years, had to like separate my professional identity
Mm-hmm.
from who I am as a person, but it's so close knit
Yeah.
that I didn't like, I never have been able to before,
Yeah.
because I really do feel so blessed and fortunate to be able to do things that like matter to me
Yeah.
personally. Like, I've never thankfully had a job where it was just like, I just have to have a job. Like, even when my first job at Wendy's, like, I loved working I loved working at Wendy's in
Yes.
high school. I feel like I learned so much. Just like connecting with people. I always felt so much meaning in my work, and
Yeah.
so it's always fulfilled me, and I've always I like really been grateful for that, because not everybody has that
Right.
privilege.
Right.
So yeah, I really think that as I started to really grow into the woman that I am, throughout my college years and
Mm-hmm.
starting into my professional career, was when I really started to realize, like, I want to be what I didn't have.
Yep.
I know that if I can be that person or be that resource, or like, you know, I
Mm-hmm.
had those couple of teachers or
Yep.
mentors that like
Yep.
popped up along the way, that really saw me,
Mm-hmm.
that poured into me, that like I know help guide me into the spaces that I
Yeah.
am in. And so that has really like, that's what has guided me in my
Yeah.
work. Like, I want to be able to be that for other people.
Yeah, and that's so beautiful. And I think too, just about like the not fitting into the family. I can relate to that so much. I'm the youngest of six. And
Mm-hmm.
so not only am I the youngest, but there's like significant age gaps. Like my oldest
Yeah.
sister's 19 years older than me.
Oh
And the sibling
yeah.
that's closest to me in age is 6 years older than me. And so all of them are a little bit closer, but I got to kind of, like you said, see examples of things and the ways they were done. And I wanted to do it differently.
Yeah.
So like I'm a first generation college student, the only one in my family to have earned a master's degree. And so,
Shout out to you.
you know, little subtle flex. But yeah, like although I was given that first foundation of the humanness and like
Mhm.
what life should be like and what it looks like, I lived in community, right? There was
Mhm.
6 of us and a lot of us in the house at one time.
Yeah.
And so I also was able to see the world a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm the baby, you know what I mean? I was parented
Yeah.
not just by my parents, but by my siblings as well. And so it gave me that opportunity. And so you kind of spoke to like being led to this path and
Mhm.
being able to do it in a way that is authentic. A lot of
Mm.
times, people of color, Black people in particular, we get jobs because we need money.
Mm.
We don't
Mhm.
necessarily get the privilege to do things that we're passionate about at the beginning.
Mm.
And so
Mhm.
that's beautiful because I even think about like what if I could do this full time every day, I
Yeah.
would love that. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
don't have to code switch. I can be exactly who I am. I don't have to worry about like the values. Do I match the value of the company? Like my value
Yeah.
is the company.
Mhm.
And I love that you get to do that and bring that to life here and affect not just your staff but girls.
Yeah.
And so the next thing I wanted to get into is how do you feel like being in this position has pushed you to evolve or grow personally?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. This role, I mean, I've been fortunate to have like really great opportunities throughout my career. And I also feel like I've always been almost like naturally good at it because most of my work has been around building student support programs, like working with, I mean, just like building relationships, which I can do, right? And of course, you have all those administrative tasks. Like I have, you know, a background in science, a background in business. Like I understand organizational structure and all that kind of stuff. So I've never felt like a job was like hard for me.
Right.
I felt like, sure, I'd be challenged at times or trying to learn how to navigate certain things, trying to navigate your identity as a Black woman. Like I have experienced a lot of those things. But coming into this space, I felt like for real, I had to put my big girl panties on. Like this was like, you know, my first president and CEO role. And I've been in this role now for almost 3 years. And I felt like I could do it. I always had said like I'm more than ready. Like when I got into this role, I was almost 15 years into my career. So I'm like, I know I can do the hard things. I know I can go into a bigger leadership role. I felt like I was ready. But then at the same time, when I got into the role, it was like, oh, oh,
Little
you know,
curveball.
it's a bit of a curveball
Yeah.
because the weight feels so much different in this role because you are responsible for other people. Like we think about our girls, which are so incredible. I love the work of Pearls and the girls that we get to support and serve, but I also have a team of professionals who are all women, which I'm super fortunate to have to be able to work with women every day, but they all have families and lives and they have to make money and livelihood. And we're a nonprofit organization. And of course, people say, oh, you know, you don't go into nonprofit for the money, but like everybody wants to have a livable wage. Everybody needs to take care of themselves. The economy, everything is changing. So it was the first time that I ever felt like a different type of weight of responsibility. Like if I fail, then everybody, you know, people are going to lose their jobs. What are they going to do? Like all that felt so heavy on me. And I've never felt that before. So it was a different type of like stress and anxiety when I got to Pearls than I've ever experienced professionally. And also, I feel like it allowed me to not have one of those like you're really feeling fight or flight because my first several months in this role, we were dealing with a lot of leadership transition, financial transition. There was a lot coming at me from multiple different places, and I had to like take a pause for myself and say, Tiffany, you know what you're doing. You know, like work the plan, work the steps, take it piece by piece, you know, because I feel like initially I was getting so overwhelmed with the emotion of if I fail, what is that going to mean for everybody else? So it really did have me, I had to pause and I had to like, recenter and reroute myself in who I am and what I can do. And I think that in the time that I've been here and the different experiences and things that have happened, I've come out into this other side almost 3 years in, really with a better understanding of myself as a leader and as a person. Like, one, you really can do hard things, you know, that like you can take on something totally new and you can thrive. And I've always felt like I didn't want to ever be in a position where I'm surviving. And I feel like I have been. I've had to have those survival experiences throughout several things in my career. Um, and when I first came here, I never anticipated that feeling because I loved, like, my interview process was phenomenal. The board was phenomenal. The team was amazing. I felt like for the first time ever, I could be my whole Black self, all of it, you know, that I could be all of me, and that it was welcomed and that was the space that Pearls was. And also at the same time, I was a completely different leader than what this organization was used to. And so it was like this constant battle in my mind. So I do feel like as I reflect almost 3 years later, I feel like I have really been able to fully come into, I think I kept saying that I want to be able to be authentically who I am, but I wasn't able actually to be that until probably now, you know, where I feel like, wow, I get to show up every day.
So first of all, you that girl. Shout out to
thank
you.
you.
The story is inspiring and it makes sense, you know, because I've been following pearls for about 3 years. So that goes to show that the impact that you were looking to make is being made.
Oh, I love that.
And so before I even knew you were the CEO, I saw pearls and I saw what they were doing, and I think I benefited very much from a group kind of like pearls. When I was maybe like 12 or 11, I went to, and I'm from Chicago, so I went to a camp called Camp Butterfly.
Oh, I love
very
it.
much like pearls, where there's this whole like group of women, Black women, who grow and cultivate girls. They took us to camp in Michigan, and it's just kind of, they journey us through girlhood in a way that is so beautiful. And so I think that is the community that we talk about that kind of helps you get that, and that's why programs like pearls is so important. And then you talked about having to, it sounds like grit, right? Having to develop a little bit of grit to come into this role. What did it look like, or what did you have to convince yourself, not even convince yourself, that's not a good word because you knew you was that girl, you already said that. What did you have to remind yourself of in order to overcome those moments that were overwhelming, where things were coming at you? Because sometimes, and sometimes I do this myself, I kind of retreat back into girlhood, right? When I'm faced with stress, and it's like, well, maybe I ain't grown enough to do this job. Maybe I ain't grown. This sounds like an adult job that I don't know if I'm ready for. So what did you have to, if I'm asking very clearly, change within yourself to kind of get through the grit?
Yeah. I'm gonna be very honest. If I did not have my therapist throughout this process, I don't know if I would have been able to. If I would have just walked away, because I had multiple moments where I felt like I can't do this, or they made the wrong choice, or I made the wrong choice. This really isn't for me. But as I went through therapy, and I've been in therapy for several years now, and trying to, like, you're on your healing journey. You're trying to understand, especially as you're getting older, like how things are changing in your life. And during that process, I feel like there was a lot of conversation of trying to understand what is true versus what are you telling yourself, and what narratives are you telling yourself. And we can be so horrible to ourselves, right? In the way that we talk about what we're capable of, what we do, what we're, even in just like certain interactions, and, oh, did I say the wrong thing? Did I rub the wrong way? Like, I felt like I was struggling so much inside with feeling criticized, or feeling like less than, and it was actually all me. Because when in therapy, when your therapist is just like, well, what evidence do we have to tell us that this is true, or that this happened? And I realized that some of that was rooted in some previous workplace trauma. Some of that was rooted in some previous little girl Tiffany of never feeling like she was good enough, and it wasn't actually what I was living every day. So I was able, I feel like over time, and actually doing that hard work, digging into a lot of those feelings, was when I was able to really separate, right? Like, really understand that there are certain narratives that you have put in your head, or that you have tried to perpetuate over the years, that are not even you, or they're not about you, or nobody actually did that or made you feel that way. That was coming from some childhood something. And so as I have been able to heal some of the inner Tiffany, like heal the parts of me, that's what we talk about in therapy, like this parts work of, there's certain parts of you that had to survive growing up for whatever reason. And so you don't need her anymore, right? Like, you're so grateful for what she served her purpose. We're so grateful that she helped you in that moment that you needed her, but you don't have to be in that space anymore. And that is what I think has made all the difference for me, because I do feel like I'm in a period of my life now, both just personally and professionally, where I feel the most confident and the most realized, like self-actualized, than I've ever felt. And I think a lot of that is because of the hard work that had to be done, both here in doing the work, but then also with myself personally.
And that building confidence. And I've been thinking about, like, what does it mean to build confidence? And so from what I heard you mentioned is a lot of it is realizing at some point between, I feel like for some people, or for maybe I'm telling my business. For some of
we
us,
telling our business today, girl. I'm talking about therapy.
Listen, there's sometimes I feel like is a gray area between like girlhood and grown woman. And so I think what that gray area is knowing that you get to decide, but also being afraid because it's like, well, what if I decide the thing that's not right?
Yeah.
And so there's this mental volley, I feel like, that goes back and forth between the girlhood that has to ask for permission and the woman that doesn't, because you've been developed into someone who cares about people, right?
Yeah.
So naturally you don't want to hurt someone's feeling. Naturally you do want to know if someone's pleased with what you're doing, but there's also a bit of the girlhood that is afraid of being reprimanded or criticized. So finding that balance, I feel like, is super important, and getting over that hump, or that gray area. I'm seeing like the bridge, like a bridge from girlhood to womanhood, is understanding that you have free will. Like, you have the ability to decide. And my best friend would tell me this all the time. She's like, girl, you got free will. You can decide to do whatever you want to do. If you want to go to Target at 9 o'clock at night, you can go to Target. Like, you don't have to just stay in the house because you're home from work. And I'm like, you're right. Because as a little kid, it was like, you ain't running in and out of my house. It's after, like, you know what I mean? And so I think confidence comes from deciding, and it can be starting small. So in my therapy session, since we're talking about our therapy session, one thing that I've been working through is just going forth with a decision, not letting it sit too long. Whether it be like, I really want to go get a bag of Doritos from the gas station because I feel like it and it's 9 o'clock, and going to do it, and not saying like, well, maybe I shouldn't eat Doritos at 9 o'clock, or maybe I shouldn't do these things. And I think that's what builds confidence. It's literally doing and deciding for yourself and not consulting. Because sometimes we get too caught up in the consultation of like things that we already know we want to do. Like, should I? Or we tell someone an idea just to kind of see what their reaction to it is going to be. And I think stepping into roles like this, and like what you're an inspiration for, is like, I heard you say you were in therapy while going through the difficult thing, while in the role of CEO. You don't have to finish therapy before you do that. You don't have to, you know what I'm saying? These things can happen simultaneously.
Absolutely.
And it's beautiful to hear that in action, because remember, we're still humans.
Yes.
And that's what this series is about, because we're in this space, but understanding that the human part of me has to still work outside of Dr. Tardy, outside of CEO. Tiffany still has to be cultivated. And so
thank you. I'm like, thank you for saying that, because I do feel like that has been a part of the journey as well, of realizing that I don't have to be all put together, you know, because we have, there's so much, I feel like, like, only thing coming to my mind is pain. But like, I think that's rooted in our just ancestry as Black women, where we have been taught to be a certain way, that we have to be strong, that we can't have feelings, that you always, you know, you just rise above, right? And that has how that, like, I just had to unlearn a lot of that. Like, I just rejected, like, no, I want softness. I want to be able to be messy sometimes. I don't have it all together. I mean, I honestly have had to even learn that in my own personal relationship, like getting married this last year and realizing, thank you. But like, you have to realize that like, you're human, and that like, you're not going to be always perfect. And I just don't have it together all the time. And that's okay. And I just feel like we just have to do a better job for each other of like really saying that, like, no, it's okay that you're not okay, that it's okay if you have a bad day, if you like, you actually are entitled to having a bad day or bad feelings. Everything is never going to be like perfect all the time. And I think like, I just think it's just brought a breath of fresh air to my life to be able to just be like, I'm just a mess. You know,
like, it's
I'm
a mess right
today.
now. It's a mess. And I think that's a confidence builder too, in being able to say like, this is a mess, but being confident that like, but I'm gonna get it together though. It's not
like,
gonna stay there.
It ain't gonna be here. We ain't gonna be like this forever.
I got
but in this moment, I need a moment. And that, I think we need to give ourselves permission to be her more, you know. And I do think that, like you said, it's that's like switching from your inner girlhood. Like, there's so much that you don't realize is rooted in that, right? Or like, Exactly what you said. I'm just thinking about like wanting to always be liked,
Yep.
wanting to always make sure that like I'm not ruffling any feathers. And that has impacted me as a leader where like having hard conversations or holding people accountable was harder for me because I'm like, oh my gosh, but I've never had team members who didn't like me, and then you realize that that's not going to get you anywhere as a leader, because who cares? You have a responsibility to the work, to the girls that you're serving, to the communities that you're serving, etc. And that means also that it's okay for you to push people, for you to hold people accountable, like all of those different things. I've really seen the through line of like so much of that being rooted in who I was growing up.
And I think hearing that, and even when you grow and develop and you get into roles like CEO, being able to have hard conversations, being able to hold people accountable actually is going to weed out who is aligned to the mission quicker.
100%.
Because it's easy to say the right thing, to not ruffle feathers, even when you know within yourself someone is not living up to the purpose.
Oh, yes.
And it's like you actually are probably holding them back, because go and find the place that's best for you.
That's exactly right.
And it's like, it doesn't have to be hard feelings. And I actually had the experience. Oh my God. I was kind of devastated. Not really. But I had to be on a firing team for a staff member where I work now. And that was the first time I had that experience. And I really had to think about, like, again, working with youth, like, is keeping this person fulfilling the mission? And it 150% was not. And so, like, there were still great attributes, and I had to do that, but still honor the fact that you're an amazing person, right? You have an amazing personality, you bring amazing energy, but for what is needed here, for what is needed for our children's futures, unfortunately, you're not fulfilling that.
And it's exactly like you said, though, it's a disservice to you both. And I think that's what the learning is. Like, actually, it's not even about, hurting somebody's feelings. It's actually saying there's misalignment here. There's a fit. There's something missing. And I want you to be able to go out and find it. Like, go be great in a space that you can thrive in. And something it's not working here, right? There's something that's not happening. Oh, come on. Yep, you're good. Yeah, we are. But that's okay. You can come around. She's going to edit it. Good morning, beautiful. Hi. Like you give people the you have to realize in leadership that making those hard decisions are also for them, and that you can make hard decisions with dignity and humility and grace, and that and I think what I had to actually really come to terms with is that there may be a time that you will be the villain in somebody's story, and that's okay.
I still haven't accepted that one.
Whew.
I'm trying to.
I hate the feeling, but it's true.
Yeah.
You just may be the villain in somebody's story, and that just has to be okay. Because I know I have a few villains. You know what I mean? I know there's a few people who I feel like are the villain in my story. Yeah. And as much as I have released those things, they're still a villain in my story. Yeah. So who am I to be exempt from that? Yeah. And I think that took me a long time to get to that point where it's just like, because you feel like I'm so nice, I'm such a good person, I care.
Think you're a good person, but maybe you're not a good person for that person, situation,
for whatever that
and that's so hard to accept. I can say it, but I don't know if I'm living in that yet. I'm trying, because it's like, I know, because I spend a lot of time, like, sometimes when I think about places where I may be a villain in the story, it's like, but does that make me a bad person? And it's like, I don't want to be a bad person, so now I'm getting down on myself, and it's like, no, maybe that just doesn't fit, right? That doesn't fit. Some things don't fit together. You can't fit a square in a circle.
That's right.
Right? And it doesn't mean that the square is bad. That's just not where it goes.
It's just not where it goes. And that's okay.
That's just not where it goes. And so trying to develop that as a person is so difficult.
I think that really speaks to like growth and maturity, though, right? Of like knowing that it doesn't have to be personal, that it really isn't. And I think a lot of times we can take things personally. I know I'm guilty and have been very guilty of that. And when you're willing to just like pull that out. Now, not everybody's capable. Not everybody has gotten to that point in their journeys, and that also has to be okay. But when we're willing to just say, like, actually, this is so not about you as a human being. You are an incredible human being. I'm an incredible human being, right? Like, and also we can't work together. And that's okay. That's okay.
I'm growing. Because I'm hearing this, I'm like, that sounds good, but
It's a journey.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, it's a journey, and it never really, it never really gets easy, you know, because it's hard. You want everybody to. I just feel like you want everybody to be where they're supposed to be. You want everybody to feel happy. You want them to thrive, and it's always hard to feel like you are a part of why they're not. You know, it's weird. It
especially when that's your passion, right?
Yeah.
Like I think both you and I have shared, like, my passion is people. Like I want people before anything to feel good about themselves, and I have to though be an example of that.
Yeah.
Like I know that I've done the work to be confident in my goodness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My flawed goodness, because that's gonna exist too. But being able to be confident in that and just say, well, maybe that didn't work, and knowing that, just apologize when you need to, be accountable when you need to, and if you've done that, then it's somebody else's problem.
Maybe you done did your part.
I did what I needed to do. Okay. And so this has been great. But we could be here for like 2 hours probably. I want to land us on this question.
Sure.
What does it mean, thinking about all the things that we've talked about, for you to truly be in your space, professionally, personally, even spiritually, if you will? Like, what does that mean for you to be in your space?
So, Latoya, I just turned 40.
Oh, and you look good.
Period. Thank you. And so I've been reflecting on that a lot, actually, because I'm like entering into this new phase of life again, just getting married, just like really, I think, finding my stride even in this role.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to understand what this next phase of my life needs to look like, especially coming out of, worried about other people, worried about, I've always been the person that wants to make sure my family, my friends, everybody else is taken care of. And I've been really working on what centering myself looks like, personally and even professionally. Like, what is it that, what does thriving look like? And for me, I've realized through this work that being able to be in a space that is truly authentic, that allows you to be exactly who you are every single day, regardless of what you're experiencing, regardless if it's a bad day or a good day, you can come in and be yourself. Is the utmost importance for me in my career this time. Honestly, not even my career, my life. Like I've been like very intentional about any space, whether it's a executive space, whether it is a peer circle or network, whether it's a conference, like, is there alignment? Is there going to be something that makes me feel whole, that makes me feel safe, that makes me feel secure? Or am I going to be in a space where I feel uncomfortable or marginalized, right? Because after living 40 years as a Black woman, I feel like most empowered now to be able to say I can choose. Like you said, like you can make the decisions. You can go and get the Doritos at night. Like you are a grown woman, you know? And so I don't feel like I'm in a place anymore where I feel like, oh, I have to go to this. Or, oh, I got to go be in this space.
Yes.
Oh, it looks good if you're here. I don't care about any of that stuff anymore. I just want to be able to be Tiffany in every place that I'm in. And so that's how I'm choosing to live right now. I want to live in complete alignment. And of course, you don't get it right every day. And then, of course, there's times where you make mistakes where you're just like, so-and-so encouraged me to do this, so let me go do it when I didn't want to. Like, you do those things. But I'm trying to get to a place where I'm doing that less and less. And that more and more I'm listening to, I'm in a space of discernment where I'm letting God truly lead my steps and guide my steps in every single thing, no matter how small it is. I just want to be in alignment. I want to feel safe. I want to feel like I belong. And I feel like I have worked so hard to be able to cultivate and like create those types of spaces that I'm like even more intentional about wanting that for myself. Like, how can you be working so hard to create this for other people, but then you're not taking care of yourself? So I'm in a place in my life where I'm centering myself in every aspect, right? From my health, from my mental, right? From professionally, what does it look like to put myself first? And that's what it looks like for me in my space right now. And truly, I'm thankful to be working with a dynamic group of women and a dynamic board where I'm able to be me every day here. So I've been very fortunate to have Pearls. I think there's been so much healing throughout my journey here that has allowed me to really just be in a place of thriving. And so I'm about alignment, and choosing myself.
Yes. Yeah. I love that. Okay.
Oh, it's all good.
That was fine. Last thing. In one sentence or less.
Ooh. Oh, a sentence, honey. Okay.
I had to let that had to let that one settle in. What would you say to the person who is afraid to take that step into their fullness?
Do it afraid.
I like that.
Do it scared. You know, like I think that's what I have done is that you don't have a clue how the story is going to end, but you keep going. Yep. You keep forging ahead. Yep. Because at the end of the day, like you are you, like we're all precious and unique. We say that at Pearl. Yeah. And nobody else is going to be able to do what you do. Nobody's else going to be able to contribute to this world like you are. Yeah. So just do it. Do it anyway. Do it pray. I love that. You were called to it for a reason, so do it. Do it. Yeah. We need you. We need you. Okay, that was great. I feel inspired. I hope you all do too. Thank you all for joining me for another episode of Universal. Thank you so much for having me. Yes.